It tells you before it drops. I hate these people. I hate them so much. Oh my god, they're taking every level of skill out the game and throwing in the garbage. The judge's gonna be buffed. The op's gonna be nerfed. I already foresee the future. They're just making this friendly for your average Twitch chatter. And I'm not here to play with your average Twitch chatter. I'm trying to play with the best, goddammit. This is a terrible update, man. Who's coming up with this? Let me talk to John Riot. What the are we cooking?
This is a pretty hot topic lately. This has been... Okay. So, I think I've gone through the 7 stages of grief, I feel like, when it comes to this change. When I first saw it enter my timeline, I immediately thought, this is lowering the skill ceiling of the game. Or not skill... I'm sorry. That's the wrong way to put it. It is raising this... Or I guess technically, like, lowering the skill floor, but also... It's like the range of good player. It's minimizing that space, right? There's less to learn. It's accommodating to low elo players. It doesn't really change all that much in higher elos. The problem is that it's cutting the distance from lower elo to higher elo. Like that space as far as like knowledge and time to master the game. And I totally understand that. Like, I absolutely do. I saw a lot of pros tweeting about this. Like, one of them was...
Choose your agent.
Leaf tweeted... Where is it at? Oh, here it is. Let's implement this change, but for lobbies where the average rank is platinum.
What up, suckers?
He's basically saying, like, this is catering massively to noobs. Like... And in higher elos, this does nothing but actually like lower the potential gap between pros, right? There's even in pro games where people kind of fuck up that timing because there is a lot of stuff happening in Valorant at the pro level, right? And that is an aspect that makes a Valorant player a great Valorant player, right? That's what separates Valorant from Counter-Strike is, in my opinion, the ability to juggle all of these things going on. There's a fuck ton of shit going on in Valorant, and it takes a lot to mentally like remember all of that while keeping... Usually it happens on like a subconscious level with the smoke timings. Like, you've just played the game so much, you just kind of understand when the smokes are going to fall and drop. But in high pressure scenarios, you know, like, that all changes. See, where this is like kind of
10 seconds left,
super noob friendly is... Imagine you're like the Omen, I guess. I'm gonna pick Omen here because I think it's easier to explain as Omen since I've played a lot of Omen. So imagine like you're this Omen, right? I think what you could probably do, or even Astra, now that you can hear in astral form. So I smoked this, you know, like probably 5 seconds ago. Let's see if I can like time the noise. Like, I'm not aware of when it's gonna pop. I'm just like a noob. Oh, I heard them. See, like, I guess it is still gone. Like, I don't think I can react quick enough to like just fucking smoke this. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see.
Shadows traveling.
So that is actually kind of nice. And I think that was an issue I was concerned about, is like the refreshing of smokes just by like an audio visual cue. But I don't think you got time. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think
cover going out.
Like, you can see, like, I'm reacting pretty quickly to like when those particles come on my screen, and I can't just continuously refresh that. Let's see what that's like with Astra. And I imagine with Brim, it's like slightly better too than Omen. So low key, this could be like a light Omen nerf for like lower elos.
Got blocking vision.
I guess I don't really need to hear it.
Obscuring vision.
So yeah, Astra can do it. So for Omen, you still have to have like some kind of mental clock. With Astra, it looks like you could do it in time. I imagine with Brim, it's the same thing because Brim can drop smokes pretty
30
quick.
seconds left. Thrifty.
Launching smoke.
So if I just sat here like this,
Launching smoke.
again, like, yeah, so low-key slight Omen nerf, because over time I think like there's going to be a lot of like gaps in his smokes throughout honestly, all the elos. I think people are gonna get a little bit complacent because of that noise. I think Astras and Brims will just have that audio cue to probably like continuously resmoke if they wanted to, right? Like, you got to keep in mind, like, this is something that would require a lot of info. Like,
here.
We definitely know there's like
Right
3
here.
and B main ready to pop type of beat. Like, we have mid
Right
control, we have a mid control. Like, they're definitely here. You know, like weird scenarios like that where you just want to refresh smokes. It happens quite a bit in Valorant, and I think that's something important to note. I think the other thing is
30 seconds
there's a
left.
couple other areas where I think
Thrifty.
like this holds value.
Obliteration.
One would be like,
Claw through them.
and this is already a comm you kind of hear with Astra with her Cosmic Divide. So when Astra's Cosmic Divide goes away, there's that like gong noise. Like it's like it's really loud noise. People sometimes like wait for that noise to start a play. Like they use a sound within the game that can then give them some kind of consistency to set a play. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that with like this smoke timing, right? Like it's like, you know, you're popping out of the smoke. I wish I could pick a flash agent. Let me see. Let me see like what it feels. So yeah, like I would imagine you could probably get a flash off. Like 1.5 seconds for sure. Like a KO could be like right here, ready to just like flash around the corner. Someone's running out, like looking over here. It's gonna seem seamless, for lack of a better word. It's gonna feel way more organized, because before what would happen was you would have to have like, all right, this smoke landed at like 103. It's gonna last, you know, like 15 seconds, 20 seconds if you're Brim. You know, like it's gonna last this amount of time. This is what we're gonna do at, so if like a smoke lasts 20 seconds, like Brim smoke, you know, be like, all right, everyone throw util like 18 seconds from 140. So like 102, we're gonna exec. Now you don't need to do that. You're kind of just like going off of the queue the game has in itself, but it also gives you the layer of like, well, what if we pop before that? Or what if we like wait it out and like we're just all picking behind it? Another thing it would do is, say you're rotating into an area, like say like I'm the mid player, right, and my Omen is playing A, right? Like I'm the Jet upping mid, and my Omen has gotten pushed off of main. I'm rotating heaven. I rotate. I don't really know fully. I guess I could be staring at my mini map and know like when this smoke popped, but now at very least get like this audio visual cue, so that way I'm not like caught completely in the open and very unaware. I have 1.5 seconds to kind of move around a little bit. It's not so important for the defense to defense smokes, but more so like if there was, say, like this smoke here, or even like the one way on the door, right? So the attackers take the site. At very least now, if you're rotating over from like, you know, like this area or even spawn, you can then time something really well with like when this smoke fades. So I'm not terribly against it, because I don't think it does as much as what a lot of people think it does. And I also think there is a lot of shit to learn in Valorant, but it is very frustrating that things that took a massive amount of time to learn and get used to in Valorant are slowly getting ripped away, right? Going back to desktop here, you can see it's like Leaf along with, dude, there was so many. I wish I could remember all of the people that like were tweeting. Yeah, awesome. He's not really not too happy about it. You know, like I think overall the response to this was super negative. Like in the pro community, in the casual player base, this has been received very positively. Like, and that's kind of what I would expect. I felt like changes were being made to the game that massively decreased the gap from like a lower tier player to a top level pro. And that worries me, right? Reducing the amount of things you have to learn thus lowers the ceiling and the distance you have relative to like newer players. But there's always that balance where you don't want to make the barrier to entry too hard for new players. So I totally understand. There are things though that are really frustrating, like this Astra change, right? Where they made it so Astra could hear in astral form. And this is something I literally requested like years ago when Astra was added into the game, but it wasn't added. And because of the fact that it wasn't added for years and people learned how to master this, despite it being dumb, like a dumb feature in the game, like all things considered, like that's why they pulled it out of the game, people mastered it. And that's what made Astra difficult to use in certain elos. It required good communication. It required you to know what to ask for and how to communicate with your teammates, what you wanted to do. And when they took that away, I didn't think that that was the right direction. Not because I think that, you know, like it's a bad change. I think it's a good change. Like I said, I think this is how the agent should have been in the game. I just think that once you have like an esport like this where those tools, those features, whether they're bugs or not, have been mastered over years, like smoke timings, it's hard and it's a delicate thing to decide when to take those things away for the sake of the casual audience without pissing off the grinder side of your game. This particular update frustrated me because they kept doing it with the controllers, and clearly they're continuing to do it with the controllers. And I don't know if that's from some kind of analytics that Riot has on their side where, you know, like they're seeing that a lot of people aren't picking controllers, so they're trying to make it more appealing. And to make it more appealing, hey, what if we make it so that way, you know, they made it so that way, like before you could change the speed depending on if you're running backwards, it would go slow. If you're running forward, it would go super fast. If you were standing still, it would like average speed. They're just continuously doing things right now that make the game easier to understand, which is very understandable. When their competitor is Counter-Strike, which is the easiest game to understand, you don't want to get too complex. You don't want to like find yourself having to know a fucking encyclopedia of information to play Valorant. But you do need to have it so that way, I guess, like, what are the core values of Valorant? Like, I think that's what a lot of people get frustrated about. They don't understand, like, is Valorant a game where, you know, like, abilities should be pretty fucking powerful? You know, like, abilities should be, like, you should be able to hold your sight. If you're like Omen right here, you know, like, you should be able to hold your sight. Or is Valorant like, you know, like the abilities kind of will slow you down for a second, but when these people get out in a perfect world, like this guy's sight, like he's gonna have to make some really good peaks and timings on like all of these shots. You know, like what is the likelihood of that in Valorant? I don't know, like, because initially in Valorant, it felt like the abilities were pretty fucking powerful. Right, like Jet had like the 3 cloud burst that lasts 7 seconds. She had the refreshing blade storm on right click. Raze had 2 sets of paint shells. The ults were way lower orbs. The time for Viper, like all the toxin times were super high. She could leave her ult for like 25 seconds. The abilities were insane. Like they were crazy. And now we're getting into an era of the game where it's like we're focusing more on gunplay. Is that what Valorant is? Is Valorant going to be like, it's going to feel like CS, but with like slightly different looking abilities and a cartoonish vibe? I don't know. Yeah, it's like Ashe having 5 stars, faster abilities. Like, we're clearly moving away from those times where abilities matter a lot. And it's more about like the gunfighting in Valorant. I just feel like right now there's a lot of frustration because people don't know the answer to that. They don't know what Valorant's supposed to feel like. They don't know if their agent that they've mastered over 3 years should be able to stop a rush or if they shouldn't, because they've now played both iterations of the game. Overall, I think it's a pretty good update. Like I said, I've gone back and forth with these smokes. I think I'm now at the part where I'm in my acceptance phase, and the internal clock that you must have in Counter-Strike that you actually had to have in Valorant for all these years, you don't need to have in Valorant. So they already made it so that way Harbor and Viper had audio cues and visual cues. Now they make it so that way all of them do. Fair enough, whatever.